So we're still looking at trigonometry here, and we're going to start looking at the unit circle. But before we look at the unit circle, we've got to look at these, the standard triangles. There's two of them, and it's really important that you learn them, you can draw them, and you understand them. Now the first standard triangle is really simple. It's a right angle triangle with a height of 1 and a width of 1. Now if you do a little bit of Pythagoras, you can figure out what the hypotenuse is. Square root 2. Now, if you sort of look at it, you'll notice that it's an isosceles triangle, which means that this length and this length are equal. Now, if that length and that length are equal, then that angle and that angle must also be equal. And if there's 180 degrees in a triangle, there's 90 degrees here, 90 degrees when you add those two up, which means that that is 45 degrees. So, the first standard triangle has 1 root 2, and it has an angle of 45 degrees. Now you're probably wondering, why is that important? Well, that's important because now we know what sine 45 is equal to. Remember that sine anything is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, and that's 1 over root 2. That's an exact answer to sine 45. What about cosine 45? So that's adjacent over hypotenuse, again 1 over root 2, and finally tan 45. Tan 45 is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, which is 1 divided by 1, and 1 over 1 is equal to 1. So there's our first standard triangle, and more importantly, using our standard triangle, we know that sine 45 is 1 over root 2, cosine 45 is 1 over root 2, and tan 45 is equal to 1. Let's look at our second standard triangle. Now another right angle triangle, but this time not equal angles. This angle is going to be 30 degrees, and this angle is going to be 60 degrees. And if you draw it like that, labeling the sides is going to be really simple. 1, 2, 3, but the 3 isn't a 3, it's a root 3. Now, using this triangle, we can come up with exact values for sine 30, cos 30, tan 30, and sine 60, cos 60, tan 60. So sine 60 is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, root 3 on 2. Cos 60 is equal to adjacent on hypotenuse, 1 on 2. Tan 60 is equal to opposite over adjacent, root 3 on 1, which is just root 3. Now, sine 30 is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, 1/2. Cos 30 is equal to adjacent on hypotenuse, root 3 on 2. And tan 30 is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, 1 on root 3. Okay, so you should see some similarities here, this and this, this and this, and then these look similar, but they're just flipped upside down. Now some skills that you require. You have to be able to draw that triangle. You have to be able to draw that triangle. And you have to be able to use those triangles to come up with those answers. And perhaps most importantly, you have to have these answers in your brain. You have to just know them straight away. One way to do that is to put them in a table, learn that table. I'll show you how to do that. So here's my handy little table, sine, cos, tan, 30, 45, 60, and I'm going to do sine and cos first. It's pretty simple. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then on the bottom of everything, I'm going to put 2's. And now, without thinking too much about it, I'm going to put square roots everywhere on the top. Now I could put a square root there, but the square root of 1 is 1. Okay, so that's sine 30, 45, and 60, and cos 30, 45, and 60. Now if you're really clever, you're looking at this one, and you're going, wait, sine 45 isn't root 2 on 2, it's 1 on root 2. If you type those into your calculator, they're actually the same, root 2 on 2. This is this with a rationalized denominator. Okay, there's a nice bit of our table, let's just finish it off. So we've got root 3 on 1, 1, and 1 on root 3. So 3 on 1, 1, 1 on root 3, put some square roots on the 3's. Okay, however you decide to remember all of this stuff, it's really up to you. Two triangles and how to draw them. then being able to use those triangles to calculate them. But then, because of all of the work we're going to be doing with these numbers, you've really got to learn them off by heart. If I say sine 45 in class, you should say 1 on root 2 straight away.